Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravana Charya Yamuna Tiravana Charya Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivajikacharya Ashtottara Shesha Madhusudhan Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki Jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Jai, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Somebody writing the verse on the board?
Yes. Yeah, he's writing. Hey, Govind. Whoa. Very low. Oh my God. Good thing he's young. I've never seen that before.
I've never saw that before either.
Yeah, I've never seen that. You just keep tumbling out from the open. Did Krishna throw him out, or was it a...
Yeah, that was amazing. So, is it almost? No, he's using the book to write the verse. He should be done. Is he using the verse, or is he using? Tyler, can you see? Can you try to grab the book? Oh, maybe. Yeah.
Krishna, 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 Krishna. Krishna, Krishna, hey.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So this morning we're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, chapter 11, the transcendental qualities of Vṛtrāsura, text 19. Suresha Kasman Na Hinoshi Vajram Puraha Stite Vairini Mai Amogam Ma Sangshayashta Na Kadeva Vajraha Syan Nishpalaha Kripanarteva Yachna Suresha Kasmana Hinoshi Vajram Purastite Vairini Maya Mogam Ma Sangshayashta Nagadeva Vajraha Syanishpala Kripanateva Yachna Suresha Kasmana Hinoshi Vajram Purastite Vairini Maya Mogam Ma Sangshayashta Nagadeva Vajra Syanishpala Kripanarteva Yachna Suresha Kasmana Hinoshi Vajram Purastate Vairini Maya Mogam Ma Sangshayashta Nagadeva Vajra Syanishpala Kripanarteva Yachna Like to chant. Sura Isha, O King of the demigods, Kasmat, why? Na, not. Inoshi, you hurl. Vṛtrāsura, the thunderbolt. Purastate, standing in front. Vairani, your enemy. Mai, at me. Amogam, which is infallible. Your thunderbolt. Ma, do not. Saṅśayashtaha, doubt. Na, not. Gada eva, like the club. Vṛtrāsura, the thunderbolt. Syat, may be. Nishpalaha, with no result. Kripana, from a miserly person. Artha, for money. Eva, like. Yachna, a request. O King of the translation, purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. O King of the demigods, since I, your enemy, am standing before you, why don't you hurl your thunderbolt at me? Although your attack upon me with your club was certainly useless, like your request of money from a miser, the thunderbolt you carry will not be useless. You need have no doubt about this. Purport. When King Indra threw his club at Vṛtrāsura, Vṛtrāsura caught it in his left hand and retaliated by using it to strike the head of Indra's elephant. Thus, Indra's attack was a disastrous failure. Indeed, Indra's elephant was injured and thrown back 14 yards. Therefore, even though Indra stood with the thunderbolt to hurl against Vṛtrāsura, he was doubtful, thinking that the thunderbolt might also fail. Vṛtrāsura, however, being a Vaishnav, assured Indra that the thunderbolt would not fail, for Vṛtrāsura knew that it had been prepared in accordance with the instructions of Lord Viṣṇu. Although Indra had doubts because he could not understand that Lord Viṣṇu's order never fails, Vṛtrāsura understood Lord Viṣṇu's purpose. Vṛtrāsura was eager to be killed by the thunderbolt manufactured according to Lord Viṣṇu's instructions because he was sure that he would thus return home, back to Godhead. He was simply waiting for the opportunity of the thunderbolts being released. In effect, therefore, Vṛtrāsura told Indra, if you want to kill me, since I am your enemy, take this opportunity. Kill me. You will gain victory, and I shall go back to Godhead. Your deed will be equally beneficial for both of us. Do it immediately. Om Ganatipadandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmalitam Mena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukam Kadidavachalam Pangam Langayate Gadim Yakripatamaham Vande Shri Gurundinitarilam Vancha Kapadribishcha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavaribhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay, translation again. O King of the demigods, since I, your enemy, am standing before you, why don't you hurl your thunderbolt at me? Although your attack upon me with your club was certainly useless, like a request of money from a miser, the thunderbolt you carry will not be useless. You need have no doubt about this. Krishna advises in the Bhagavad Gita that if we want to become free from the control of the material energy, then we should surrender into Him. Daivihesha gunamaya mamaya dhratya mamevye prapadyante mayam tam trantite. That this, Krishna says that this energy of mind, this divine energy of mind consisting of the three modes of material nature, is very difficult to overcome, but those who surrender to me can easily cross beyond it. So Krishna comes in different forms. He comes as the deity, right? The devotees are back there dressing the deities, decorating. He comes as Srimad Bhagavatam. He comes as the holy name of Krishna, right? Nam Avatar. He comes in different forms. It says he manifests externally as spiritual master. So it's the business of the souls who are fortunate to surrender into these different forms of Krishna, and that will be their freedom. That will be their freedom. You could check the stock market later. So, so when a devotee surrenders to Krishna, then at that particular point, they're no longer under the direction of the material energy. They're under the direction of the spiritual energy. Krishna, he orchestrates things in such a way for the devotee's deliverance, for their betterment. Just like here, there's a whole particular pastime being played out, and Indra is, you could say, acting as an instrument to fulfill the particular destiny of Vṛtrāsura. He had a very interesting destiny. One is that, as we'll hear later in the chapters, that he was traveling, right, as Chitraketu in a celestial airplane, right, Vimana, and then he looks down and he sees Lord Shiva doing a very interesting thing, which he was surprised he was doing because Shiva's the most tolerant, sober person, right? And Mahadev, and Lord Shiva was he was speaking some transcendental knowledge, and there was some sages sitting there, and he had his wife on his lap. And Chitraketu said, why? He started to laugh. So Shiva didn't take any offense with Parvati did. She cursed him. You become a demon. So he became Vṛtrāsura. And then you have this whole battle between Indra and Vṛtrāsura going to happen. And then when Indra eventually kills Vṛtrāsura, then Vṛtrāsura goes back to Godhead. So you could say that Indra is acting as an instrument to fulfill this particular destiny of Vṛtrāsura. It took a long time to cut out. You know how long it took? Remember that? 1 year? Was it? 1 year to cut off his head, right? Yeah, neck. So, long time. So the idea is that we should try to have complete faith in Krishna's particular plan. And as Srila Prabhupada one time said, you have your plan, I have my plan, and Krishna has his plan. And the idea is to find out what is Krishna's plan. Because devotees, we want to act according to Krishna's direction. We want to act according to Krishna's plan, not some other person's plan. Because in this world we have an option. We have options. We could surrender and we could follow the orders and directions of Krishna or of Maya's representatives and their many forms. Or we could surrender and follow and be directed by Krishna's representatives. And Maya's representatives, they're all over. I mean, the whole world's full of them, like the advertisement industry. Get this, buy that, do this. They're always trying to influence us in so many different ways. So we want to, a devotee of Krishna, a devotee of Krishna always has to keep in mind that they don't want to, you could say, concern themselves with the garbage of this world. There's a lot of garbage. And the only way that the only way a person's going to be able to not concern themselves with the garbage of this world is that they have to be experiencing a higher mellow, a higher happiness, a higher taste. Or else they're forced to. So therefore, Srila Prabhupada, he really encouraged devotees to take Krishna consciousness seriously so that they could experience that higher taste. So therefore, they don't have to be absorbed in all the useless matters of this world. And that higher taste comes in the form of devotional service. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Viṣṇu, Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Navedanam. Hearing and chanting about Krishna, remembering Krishna, so engaging in the process of Krishna consciousness. And the more one engages in the process of Krishna consciousness seriously, the more they will be able to relish the happiness of Krishna consciousness and forget about the other stuff. And then at one point they'll be wanting to give it out to others. And this is very important, because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, his particular mission is twofold. It means he wants the living entities to experience the bliss of Krishna consciousness, but he also wants those who become devotees and experience the bliss of Krishna consciousness to give it to others. It's twofold, or else it's incomplete. Because a movement, of course, a movement of Kanishta-adhikaris cannot do much good for the world. Why? Because they're not interested. I mean, there's no interest. And Srila Prabhupada was very critical of this type of mentality. I mean, you could read Srila Prabhupada's letters, him talking about, I mean, who am I? But Srila Prabhupada writing about some of his godbrothers, quite strongly, being very critical of them, because he was saying, "Oh well, we get one temple, we have some disciples, and we by some transcendental devices, we just eat and sleep here at the temple." And so yeah, a movement of Kanishta. Now you could say, well, of course. I mean, if someone was to say ISKCON is a movement of Kanishta-adhikaris, then I would say they're wrong, because I don't think that's not right. But as somebody once was saying, "Oh, ISKCON this, ISKCON that," they're being quite critical, and ISKCON is. And Jayadvaita Swami said, "Well, why doesn't ISKCON?" And they said, "Well, why don't you just go ask ISKCON?" It means ISKCON it's a large society with different members. It consists of a lot of. So we can see that in different parts of the world, naturally, because some places might be doing more well than others in some regards. So to say that ISKCON's a movement of Kanishta Adhikaris, I don't agree with. But we have to be very careful because although we're part of a movement which is worldwide, we are situated in a particular place, means a particular temple in ISKCON San Diego. So in other words, the core members are responsible for, you could say, for leading a particular example, for setting an example, and not being, you could say, a temple of Kanishta Adhikaris. Means materialistically motivated, only seeing God in the temple, do not know how to deal with other devotees. What is all this quarreling business? That means, and having no interest in spreading the Hare Krishna movement, because if a temple falls into this particular mentality, it's in trouble, because it's not. I would say it's actually, it's not fulfilling any of the purposes. Two purposes. Means not really relishing Krishna consciousness. I mean, to some degree of something. But also not spreading it. So it's like both. Double failure. Because after all, everything has a purpose, right? Like the purpose of a microphone is amplification of voice, right? It's not stirring the doll back there, you know. I mean, you could use it for that, to stir doll, but then yeah, but the treasurer is not going to be very happy, right? Dayanithi is not going to be happy. Why are you using the microphone to stir doll? You know, just use a spoon. Right? Sometimes when people, their mind kind of gets the best of them, then they do all types of strange things. So, and there's a purpose behind everything. Or you could say that there is a dharma, or you could say that there's a particular nature that everything has, or everything that things are supposed to have. Just like flowers. Everybody likes seeing beautiful flowers, right? Oh, wow, so beautiful. And they say, I think it's in the Bhagavatam. Maybe Prabhupada said it. We have to look it up so I could take it. But it's Krishna's smile, right? So it's very beautiful flowers. Now, one of the wonderful natures of flowers is that not only is it beautiful to the sight, but also has a wonderful scent. Should, right? And that's what Chanakya Pandit says here, right? It says that a very handsome man without any good qualities is like a flower without any scent. So the idea is that we want to be able to offer what Srila Prabhupada is given us, right? He's given us something, a gift, and we want to be able to give that gift to others. Just like one devotee, he was telling me he was telling me his experience on book distribution. He was saying how it's very important that when devotees go out to distribute books that they're Krishna conscious, because they're representing Srila Prabhupada, representing Krishna. Because, or else, he was making the point that what are they distributing? Are they distributing their anger? You know, there's like in their eyes and their body, like, why aren't you taking a book because you're a sinful demon or whatever? You should be taking a book, or are they what are they distributing? Are they distributing their greed? You know, sometimes devotees have that on book distribution, that somebody, a person will say, hey, you know, you're just trying to get my money. You know, they feel like that. And devotees have had that experience that when they've fallen into that mentality, people have told them that. And then the devotee's like, yeah, he's probably right. So, but if we go out there and we're, we've had our sadhana, spiritual practices in the morning, and we haven't offended any devotees, right? From the time we woke up to the time we went out. It's very important. Also mentally, it's something that needs to be controlled. Why isn't Balarama Dasa at Mangalarti this morning, that rascal, this and that? Well, I haven't been at Mangalarti for the last 2 weeks because I'm doing these courses, Zoom. It's like really interesting timings, but it's all in India because most of the devotees who are taking them are in India and Russia, so there's like 2 of us in America. So it's from 10:30 p.m. to 12:30 a.m. That's one session, which is 11 to 1 p.m. in India. So 10:30 p.m. to 12:30 a.m. Yeah. Here, the class I'm taking on Zoom ends at 12:30 a.m. and then the next one starts from 4:30 to 6:30. So it's an interesting time. But it just ended today, so. But, but anyways, it's something we have to control, this criticism also mentally. Because it acts against us. Why am I having a hard time on Sankirtan, or why am I having a hard time in my spiritual life? Well, we might think about that. So anyways, if we do well in the morning, and we're Krishna conscious, and we go out, then at least you could say, even if people aren't reciprocating with us and taking books or whatever, or maybe having a hard time, but at least you could say we're not distributing our anger and other things. So, I'm just going to, 1 second. So yeah, so Srila Prabhupada wanted us to come to the platform where we're able to give all of our service and the Bhagavatam says our love to Krishna, to make friendship with the devotees, which is based on Dadati Dadati Pritigrinnati Guyamaikati Prichati Bhunkte Bhojate Chaiva Shadvidam Priti Lakshanam, the 6 loving exchanges. Everybody knows those here, right? And to avoid the envious, because they're just going to become more envious, right? You feed milk to a serpent, it's going to become more poisonous. So we avoid the envious, people who are just out and out offensive. We avoid them. And to the innocent, which is a lot of people, we try to give them Krishna consciousness. So he wanted us to come to that level, which is, the 11th canto is described as the Madhyama Adhikari platform. Now, there's the Uttama Adhikari platform, which is described in different ways. Prabhupada, one is described as, okay, devotee feels that everyone else is devotees besides themselves. They're all engaged in Krishna service, so therefore there's no need to preach because they're already devotees. It's a really extremely high platform. Practically, yeah. It's like, hey, Prabhu, why aren't you going on a book distribution? They're all devotees, you know. What is this? Really? Yeah, they're all devotees. Then why you sleep? You're also devotee, anyways. And then you say, well, I'm not a devotee, but they're all devotees. That's why I'm sleeping 18 hours a day and not going on book distribution, because they're all devotees and I'm not anyways. But Uttama Adhikari, they think like that, but Prabhupada gives different definitions in Nectar of Instruction. Which they are always thinking about how to spread Krishna consciousness, and that's the essence of Prabhupada's actual definition in this particular regard. So yeah, we as a temple, we want to cultivate that particular mood of relish in Krishna consciousness and give in it as much as possible. And we all have particular bodies, we all have particular minds that may work against us at times. It's called conditioning. So that conditioning can be transcended. It is possible. That's called purification, right? Someone may say, well, I'm an angry person by nature. We say, no, you're not an angry person by nature. You could overcome that. Or you could say maybe conditioned nature or whatever, but you could overcome that, right? Like I know some devotee, and he was struggling with anger, and he's brahmachari, struggling with anger. And then one of his friends, it became so bad, one of his friends said, if you don't give this up, I can't, it was a close friend of his. He said, if you don't give this up, I'm going to stop associating with you. I can't associate with you anymore. In other words, we can't really be close friends anymore. And then that devotee at the particular time, he's like, wow, really? He's thinking, wow, I guess it's, you know. And over time, he worked on it with the chanting, and he he transcended that. Because after all, it is the Krishna consciousness movement is a movement that is trying to, that is propagating a particular type of consciousness, and that is Krishna consciousness, right? Particular type of Krishna consciousness. And there's many examples of people who were externally in a good situation, means pious, religious, even Krishna conscious, but they weren't really getting the result. And actually it says that they're getting opposite results. For example, does anyone think about the one? I'm thinking about two Brahmins. Of course, we pick on the Brahmins, right? In history, it's a famous one where it has to do with an elephant being threaded through the eye of a needle. Was it no, it's not camel, elephant. You want to think about that one? Yeah? You want to say, Prakash? Which one? You have the microphone?
It's a story about a cobbler and a Brahmin. And
cobbler means a shoe fixer. Right?
Yeah. And I think Narada Muni asked, like, when this the Brahmin and cobbler, when are they going back to Godhead? And
they asked Narada Muni,
yes,
the
Narada
cobbler
Muni
and the
asked
Brahmin
Narayan.
asked Narada Muni to ask Viṣṇu, when are they going back to Godhead?
Yes.
And then what?
And then Lord Narayan said, like, the cobbler is going back in this life, the Brahmin will be delayed. So Narada Muni was wondering why, and then Narayan sends him to meet them, and actually tell them that Lord Narayan is threading an elephant through the... Maybe.
The Krishna said to Narada, you ask them, when they ask what am I doing, you tell them I'm threading, keeping Krishna. Krishna planted the seed.
Yes. So Krishna says that when Narada Muni, when they ask what Lord Narayan is doing, tell them that Lord Narayan is threading an elephant through the eye of the needle.
Yes.
And Narada Muni conveys this.
Yes.
But the Brahmin doesn't actually really believe in that.
Yes.
And but the cobbler
Does.
has firm faith that
Yeah.
Lord Narayan is capable, because he gives the example of, if Lord Narayan can put a whole banyan tree in a seed, then he can do pretty much anything.
Yes.
So,
Thank you. So the cobbler, although he was externally in a not exalted position, there's still cobblers existing nowadays. It's actually cobbler and La Jolla. Anyway, sometimes we drive by there and there's a shop, shoe fixing shop. Surprisingly enough, I think people just buy new shoes in La Jolla, but it's considered a lowly job. It's not a very, it's like, what do you do for profession? Oh, I'm a cobbler, I'm a shoe fixer. Oh, okay, great, Or sometimes when they're like janitors, what do they call them? Technician, something, what do you call them?
Garbage man, sanitary engineer.
Sanitary engineer, whatever, So, but because he had faith in Vishnu or Krishna, then he actually achieved the goal, whereas the Brahmin didn't, and it was delayed. You also have this example of this Brahmin. He was living across the street from as Prabhupada I think sometimes would say, a society woman, and that was her profession. And he was there reading the Gita or doing his jagyas, whatever he was chanting, worshiping, doing all these mantra chanting and everything. And then there was this woman here, and her profession. So he was always looking across the street. Oh God, that's just so abominable, and I can't. Always meditating on her and her you could say sinful type of lifestyle, and just kind of. And then she was always looking across the street, and wow, that Brahmin is so wonderful, and he's chanting his mantras, and he's worshiping Narayan, and I'm so sinful, and my past karma, I'm in this situation, and this. And she was meditating on him in devotional service. So it said that she actually got the benefit, and he didn't. Quite amazing.
She got the benefit of his puja.
Yeah.
He got the reaction of her misdeeds.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, so here, this particular purport, it's mentioning how, therefore, even though Indra stood with the thunderbolt to hurl against Vṛtrāsura, he was doubtful. Indra was doubtful, thinking that the thunderbolt might also fail. So his club failed, right? The demon Vṛtrāsura just caught in his left hand. And at the picture, there's a BBT. It looks like a toothpick or something, like a small club. But Indra was thinking that, okay, well, I throw this thunderbolt, it also might fail. But it's coming from it's coming from Viṣṇu. It was made in accordance with instructions of Viṣṇu. So the thunderbolt wouldn't fail. So we should have faith that Krishna's instructions or Krishna's guidance, if we act under the guidance of Krishna, under the guidance of the spiritual master, there will not be a failure. And even if there are, you could say, what seems to be failures, means mistakes. As Prabhupada said one time, my god brother told me recently, hearing it from our spiritual master, that good judgment comes from experience, and experience comes from bad judgment. But even if you could say, make some mistakes, to err is human, right? But if we follow the instruction of the spiritual master of Krishna, ultimately there will be no failure. It will be only gain. Okay. Does anybody have any question or comment? Okay.
Vṛtrāsura is telling Indra that we'll both benefit. You're going to win the battle,
Yeah.
and I'll go back to Godhead. So it's win-win.
Yeah.
But that's kind of a, I don't want to say a lie, because Indra will end up getting all of the sinful reactions for killing another Brahmin,
Yeah.
right? And it's true, Vṛtrāsura will go back to Godhead.
Yeah.
But is that deceptive? I mean, is that legal, you know, a sign of his cleverness or what?
Well, I mean, it says in the next purport, tomorrow's purport, just one sentence from there, but hurling the thunderbolt, Indra would gain victory and enjoy the heavenly planets. So you could say that Vṛtrāsura was saying that, okay, just kill me and I will get the result. I'll go back to Godhead and you'll get what you want, because means you'll gain victory. So Vṛtrāsura is speaking to him on his level that this is what you want. So because you want this, then, you know, you just kill me and I'll go back to Godhead.
Everybody gets what they want. That's the win-win.
Yeah, you'll
Yeah,
get
but
what
the
you-
problem is that Indra ends up, you know, having to stay underwater for 1,000 years, suffering the sinful reactions, becoming another Brahmin.
I mean, it's a price, just like it's a price that he has to pay. You know, if you want to play the game, you have to pay. You know. So, yeah, I mean, it's because he does ultimately get what he wants.
Yeah, ultimately, yeah.
But there has to be some suffering beforehand. I mean that, and again, that's just the nature of the world. Like, people may get what they want, but there has to be some suffering before or after, usually in the middle
Your
also.
marriage falls apart, or you
Yeah.
get an ulcer, so many things.
Yeah, so it's like it's just part of the game. Like, anyways, somebody was telling me that they have some friend here in San Diego, some young guy, and he's attached to gambling. So he goes to all these casinos around and just, you know. So sometimes he wins, you know. Wins big and, you know, a lot of money. But I think I saw the guy one time because he comes by the temple sometimes. But he looked very depressed one time, and I asked somebody, so what happened? And he said, oh, he lost big time, you know, thousands of dollars. So yeah, with Indra, I mean, Richard says, okay, you kill me, I'll go back to Godhead, and you'll get what you want. Now, getting what he wants doesn't mean that there won't be any suffering entailed. You'll get what you want, okay, at one point, but, you know, that's just the nature of material gain, right?
Yeah.
The nature of material gain is that there's pain, right? Yeah.
What's that saying? A little bit of gain, a lot of pain. Is that it? No pain, no gain.
And the karma's going to rain.
A little bit of pain, a little bit of gain, a lot of pain? Yeah, there you go.
Material life.
They say no pain, no gain.
Yeah. No pain, no gain.
I had 2 questions about the
I
text.
got a comment on that, just a quick one. There's that, it's not, well, anyway. Karunda tells the story that Prabhu was walking along Venice Beach, and there was some guy fishing in the ocean from the beach, surf fishing. And he held up, you know, in his own Suja way, saw a saintly person, offered Prabhu some fish. Prabhu said, he said, would you like some? Prabhu said, no. You caught, you cook, you eat, you enjoy. And then when Prabhu got out of earshot, he said, and you suffer.
Yes.
So, you know, the guy got what he wanted, but it comes along with it, you know?
Yeah. Yes.
The purport's talking about Vṛtrāsura striking Indra with the club. And so text 12 really brings up these 2 points that I was going to ask about this. So it says that Vṛtrāsura sees that Indra's elephant's fatigued and injured, and he saw Indra become morose because his carrier has been harmed in that way. So Vṛtrāsura, following religious principles, refrained again from striking him with the club. And then it says, taking this opportunity, Indra touched the elephant with his nectar-producing hand, thus relieving the animal's pain and curing its injuries. So those are, I mean, that's kind of minor. This nectar-producing hand, so he's He's touching and healing his own animal with his nectar-producing hand. That's an amazing special weapon. You know, do we know anything more about that?
No.
That's, I mean, you're good to go as long as you don't lose that hand, right? And then but then following religious principles. So,
But to that, there's, I'm trying to think exactly when the situation is, but there was a whole, that the demons were killed, and then their Brahman, it's in the Bhagavatam, their spiritual master brought them all back to life. What's that? Sukacharya, yeah. But I'm trying to think what's the cause of them all being killed, what the Leela is. But they have all kinds of, with Somaras, and they have all kinds of mystic things that they did.
Yeah, there's a lot of mystic, amazing power, going on.
I mean, you know, we can have a headache and you take an aspirin, so that's kind of, you know, that's our level of improvement, you know? And they take some far out Soma Ras or some mystic incantations, and you know, they're raised from the dead. So,
and the other part about he's adhering to religious principles by not striking Indra when he's injured in front of him. So that begs a question. I mean, he's a great hero, this Vṛtrāsura, even though he's shown up as a demon, he's following religious principles. But also, then fighting in Vedic times, when you and your enemy, you're bound by religious principles in terms of the conduct of the battle?
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it is. Just like on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, there was, millions of people there. They're all men.
I think I read they ate at night together, didn't they? They'd fight all day and they eat at night together.
So there's all types of different rules of etiquette in warfare. Nowadays, I mean, people don't follow at all. So
you can't attack someone who's unarmed. If someone's chariot is smashed, you have to get out of your chariot and fight hand to hand, you know? So there's all kinds of, there's parity and fairness and chivalry.
Or if they surrender to you, then
good point.
then you don't kill them. Just
like
like
Kali and Cricket.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, Kali asked, "Where do I go?" And Mars said, "You go to Las Vegas." Just joking.
Now they use drones, you know, and blow up old women and children in apartment buildings.
You had something to go around?
Thank you, Balaram. Thank you for always encouraging book distribution. You mentioned how everything has a purpose, and it's, numerous encounters where people have told me, "Thank you for being here. This is exactly what I needed to hear. This is exactly what I needed." So it's encouraging that you tell us to go out.
Yeah. I mean, the super soul is in everyone's right there. There's a soul, the super soul. And the super soul is guiding us, everyone, based on their particular desires and so on. The Sri Upanishad says, I always like the phrase, but Krishna is a self-sufficient philosopher fulfilling everyone's desires since time immemorial. So, based on the wanderings of the living entities, the Sankirtan devotee goes out. Sets up a particular time and a particular place, and waiting there, or walking around, whatever. And then a particular soul also, shows up at that particular place, at a particular time, and then they meet, and then there's, knowledge given in the form of a book. So yeah, it's not, by accident. I mean, you could think. I got a book in El Cajon, 30 minutes east. I was living in La Mesa at the time. Whatever, they're kind of close to each other, so we were out there. I mean, this place where I got a book, it's like, since Radhanath Prabhu has been distributed, no devotee ever distributed there. Before, as far as I understand, or after.
It's just for you.
Let everyone know this is Radhanath Das.
Radhanath Das, not Radhanath Swami. Radhanath Prabhu. But he was sitting there just right outside the grocery store. I mean, nobody goes there. Actually, no one goes to El Cajon at all. I don't blame him, right? But nobody goes there to distribute. the closest they go to Al Cajon, sometimes Cuyamaca College. Still, devotees don't go so much. But it's amazing, actually. and I was walking, so yeah. So also the Chaitanya Bhagavat says that sometimes Krishna, devotees take birth in sinful lands to help elevate the particular people of the place. It's interesting, also. Because you say, why won't devotees take birth in holy places? Why are they taking birth in sinful places? He's talking about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's associates. He said because they take birth in certain places to elevate, to help people in that particular location. Right? It's interesting. But yeah, so there's a guidance going on.
Are we ready for Jaris? You had extra time.
Okay.
So they're ready.
Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.